What happened? I got kicked out.
Start the live and then you're
Yeah,
bouncing already.
I think I was like, that's enough. I think I hit the I don't know what I did. Oh, whatever. We've got a little bit of a I guess a holiday today, huh?
Happy Prime Day.
Yeah. Means nothing to 95% of the world, but
Except on the
it's actually
buyer's
a pretty
side.
big event. Yeah, yeah. It's pretty I mean this year was 4 days as opposed to I think last year was three, no?
Yep. Yep. Usually I don't buy anything, but my Beats headphones, like one side of them stopped playing music,
Mm,
and they're literally 50% off on Amazon.
yeah. Yeah, I had
And
a
I got,
pair of studios like a long time ago, and they just completely stopped working. Like, I don't know. I feel like those big headphones, I always break them or something. It's either I break them or I lose them because this is my fourth set of AirPods. So,
yeah, I mean, I was abusing those headphones between the gym and everything. But
yeah,
I got three pairs of Beats, one for travel, one for gym, and probably gonna end up returning one of them. But I just
you
want to
bought
see.
three pairs today.
Yeah, 50%
That's
off.
that's crazy. I mean, yeah, if it's that
I
cheap,
might
I
I
bought
might
my
return one of them though. I might
yeah,
return one of them. But plus I had some points laying around, so it ended up costing me like $90 for three pairs of
yeah.
headphones. So
I got my which is probably one of my favorite or my best buys is that little vacuum that I have that's like the robot thing or whatever. Those used to be terrible, and now like the technology's gotten so good that they're actually is really good. But I'm like the amount of time that it saves me from vacuuming and stuff, well worth it. I think it was like $800. I got it last year on Prime Day, but they're expensive
yeah.
still.
Yeah, I was looking at that too. I didn't know if that was the one that I was looking at was pretty expensive. It was like I don't even remember what it was, but it was a lot.
Yeah, I think
I
mine
don't
came
need
down to
it
like
that
500.
much.
I just like that's one of those things that I mean we always talk about like outsourcing and systemizing and it's like little things like that. I'm like the amount of time that I would spend like doing that. But the thing is, I had to turn that one off because I used to have it where it would automatically every day it would run, and it started like I would not be here, and then the thing would start running, and it would like get caught under the wires under the desk and like rip out my computer from the wall. So I had to stop doing that because it was like ripping stuff up.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, all right. Welcome. Anybody joining in here to our live? Jacob, what's going on, man? Good day to liquidate inventory. Yeah, if you got some inventory that hasn't been selling, it is a good day to get some, just dump it. Coupon, reprice. I mean, you got 4 days to just get rid of that inventory if it's been sitting. So, uh, foot traffic on Amazon is crazy right now. It's just like you could literally do nothing and just your sales are going to be like
Mhm.
2 to 3x what they normally are. Um,
Obviously, if
so
you do things, that's even better. Like I was talking about on a story post over on Instagram, like just everything you can do from having enough stock to coupons to lightning deals to prime exclusive discounts. Like there's tons of things that you could do to increase your sales or the increase the buy box share that you're getting, this time. Or if you're exclusive, then increase the sales.
yeah, yeah. So if you were exclusive, how would you increase the sales?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it goes back to what kind of margins you're playing with too. Like if you have a product that you're running on a 10% margin, maybe there's not a lot that you can do with it. But if you're running on a 20% margin, then you might be able to do a lot more with it as far as discounts. But I think it all comes down to pricing and placement. So if you can get placed on like a lightning deal or something like that, then that's huge. Or just the pricing in general, if you can reduce your price by 20% or more, um, and with a coupon as well, only 50% of the people that clip that coupon actually redeem it. So you'd be getting more traffic to the listing, and then in turn you start ranking better, which because that's how Amazon works, keywords and whatnot. So you're just boosting the listing as a whole, and that would be a benefit of an exclusive product as well. If you're just getting more traffic to the listing, especially if it's a subscribe and save, you might get that to carry on after Prime Day. So just kind of little things, but make sure you have enough stock. That's the most important. If you don't have enough stock, I mean, nothing else matters.
Yeah. Yep. Got to have the stock. I mean, if you don't at this point, you're probably too late. But
Mm,
you know, it's not too early to start thinking about Q4. Some big
no,
sales in November, December. I mean, we place our some of our booking orders as
yeah.
early as January.
Hmm.
So um,
Yeah.
gotta be prepared from forecasting standpoint.
Yeah. And when you say placing orders, I mean, just for anyone that doesn't know, like, are we paying for those orders, or like, how does that work for something that a pre-book for a holiday order, for example?
Yeah, so I mean, basically, a pre-book order is where you are sending a purchase order to a brand or a distributor with a future ship date. That way, that they can forecast their inventory and order the inventory specific for you, to make sure that you get that inventory for the holidays. And we don't pay for that inventory until due on receipt. So when the product gets invoiced. And a lot of those we actually don't pay for 30, 60, or even some as long as 90 days that we have to pay that inventory. So, something like the holidays, 90 days could, I mean, 90 days is a game, 30 days is a game changer, but 90 is it's like crazy. I mean, we have, 3 months to pay down that invoice. And when, September, October rolls around, you're outlaying a lot of cash. Um, Start trying to get net 30 days with your suppliers.
I almost like net 30s better than like net 90s, because net 90s to me is like, we don't even need to, don't even need to pay it. It's like so far in the distance that, I mean, it's great from, like, I'm obviously being kind of facetious, like it's obviously great for cash flow, but there's like a component of it to me where I'm like, it's almost like we don't even need to pay for the inventory, which is a bad way to think about it, but it's so far out that, I mean, you've ordered maybe more times, three more times before you have to pay the first invoice if it's not completely seasonal.
Yeah, I mean, it could creep up on you in net 90 if you forget about it. But that's why you got to be tracking those payables and everything. So, John is asking, how does Amazon choose which brands to gate?
Yeah, I mean, some of it I know is through the brand's own doing, right? Like brands can actually request for that, I believe, right?
Yeah, I mean, if they have brand registry, the brands can get their brand gated on Amazon. Other times, Amazon will just gate brands at their own discretion. They gate categories at their own discretion. So it all kind of depends. But yeah, that's very case by case. I mean, as you know, John, nothing with Amazon is black and white. So either the brand is requested for a gate, or Amazon just decided, hey, we're going to gate this. You know. Um, and follow up question on that: do you just ask the supplier for a paid invoice to get ungated before sending the payment?
Yeah, we touched on this as someone asked this on the Instagram story, and I replied to it saying that basically, yeah, it's like most suppliers are probably going to give you something as long as it's not a pro forma. It doesn't say pro forma on it. Most suppliers have no issue with sending you that. Sometimes you'll submit the order before you even pay, and they'll send you the invoice confirmation. So it's pretty much it's about it.
Yep. Yep. And then Nomar Productions on Instagram's asking, do you have like some scripts that you follow when dealing with brands? What do you recommend in terms of learning how to communicate with brands?
Yeah, I mean, the live call video that you did, I think, is a really good way to start. Um, right, like that's directly learning from what we're doing. But at this point in the game, we're not using scripts at all. I mean, we have an answer to basically everything that the brand could possibly ask, because we've just done it so many times. But like at the beginning, we were following some templates and taking it slow. It's normal for anything new, you know.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and link that live call video on Instagram,
Yeah.
Nomar. But so that'll give you a nice framework for how to communicate with brands. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing is, just being straightforward, professionalism, and showing legitimacy. So we like to say, uh, that we stock and ship the inventory so that we show we're not drop shipping. We like to say our location and where we're from. We like to say that we're an e-commerce business, right? We're an e-commerce company. You don't refer to yourself as an Amazon seller or I want to sell their products on Amazon, right? That's probably the worst thing you can do. And so just the more you can come across, especially in your tonality, as professional, legitimate, and somebody that is actually serious about doing business, the better you're going to be in terms of closing more suppliers into
Mhm.
your arsenal.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is the legitimacy element. I mean, again, someone was asking like, can I do wholesale from another country? Can I, and it's like as long as you can check all those boxes, I think you can really do anything with this business model. I think that's the most important thing is to be coming across as professional and legitimate. And nothing is going to work if you can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even if you're outside this country, you can totally sell on Amazon. Like we have students that have, some language barriers with the English language and have been very, very successful. So it's really all about positioning yourself as the expert, and educating yourself on what kinds of value to provide brands, which can all be found on our YouTube channel. Um, so. And Jacob is asking, when should I ask my brand directs to transfer me to net 30?
My Bean Directs. Um, I mean, everything like I mean, would you'd agree on this? Like every single thing is kind of case by case based on the relationship now.
Yeah, it's case by case. It's the same. It's kind of the same answer, maybe not to this degree, but a similar answer as when you should move into brand exclusivity. It's just kind of reading the room and knowing when the time is right. And a lot of that comes with emotional intelligence. So I would say, after like working with the brand for now, if you're newer and you don't have any past net 30 accounts, your leverage to ask for that net 30 goes down because the first thing they're going to ask you is for credit references. And if you have no credit references to provide them, then you need to just wait longer. You need to do business with them for a longer period of time, 6 months, maybe even as long as a year. If you're coming into it having zero credit history with other brands or suppliers, distributors, whatever.
Yeah,
So
the flip side of that coin though too is like the flip side of that is if you're just working with a brand and eventually you're like, hey, can we have net terms? Sometimes they'll just be like, yeah, go ahead. You know what I mean? If there is no credit references, like everything that is by the book normally is not the case. So you never know. I mean, we get tons of suppliers that are like that where we don't even ask for a net 30, they just offer it. And they don't know who we are. They have no gauge on, what we're like, and they just offer it anyway. So you never know.
yeah, you don't ask if you don't, or you don't get if you don't ask. So it's not going to hurt the relationship if you ask. I wouldn't recommend doing it on like the first order or two. Start working with them a little bit, place several orders, and then revisit that.
You said about like, are you gonna question?
What's that?
No, I didn't know if there's another question. I was going to mention something.
No, Jake's just talking about prepaying. Yeah, I mean, it could really save you. The Net 30 game could really save you in terms of, leveraging and cash flow and whatnot.
Yeah. Do you use any legit tools to request reviews like Helium 10 / Seller Assist?
Um, we don't. That's more relevant for private label. But you can actually go into your Amazon selling account and request reviews on every single order. We don't do that. I mean, we're selling name brand products that customers already know, like, and trust, that have a strong review history. So these are brands that have a lot of brand equity already, and they're already selling on Amazon, and they have strong reviews. So it's not really an operational procedure for us to need to go in there and request reviews. But that definitely would be relevant if you're trying to launch a new product or launch your own private label, or maybe, scale up like a newer product for a brand that really doesn't sell that much, doesn't have that much history. You could request reviews. You could also enroll it in the Vine program if it doesn't have any reviews. So those are different ways to beef up your reviews for your products. But again, like, if you're selling wholesale products, I would say it's probably not really necessary.
Yeah, and I mean, getting a little more granular there too. If you're doing something like Vine, it depends on the cost of the product. Like if you're going to do 30 products, which is the max that you can do for Vine, how many you can send in to be reviewed. If that's a $200 product, you're probably not going to want to do that. You're probably going to want to go the route of requesting a review or something like that. So just something to think about.
Um, Fun fact, actually, on that, you only need to do 6 units on those higher priced items for Vine, I
Yeah,
believe.
30 is the max. 30 is the max that you can do.
Yeah. So if you can, Gregory, if you want to do Vine, and it's a higher priced item, like Brandon said, try to do you do request for the 6-unit Vine. Yeah, and anybody just joining in here, it's a Prime Day Q&A, so fire away any questions you guys have. We will literally answer any question that you have, except for my social security number and
Mine
bank
is free game though. So
yeah, fire it away. Brandon will tell you his. I'll just
what's
give you.
crazy? What's crazy is like I actually in the past like 2 days, it's funny I say that because past like 2 to 3 days, I have been getting so many spam text messages, but
Yeah.
like it's nonstop. And I'm like, where's my phone number? It's like, I don't know. I just keep
Yeah.
reporting them.
Yeah, I'm thinking about paying one of those services to just get rid of my information online. You know,
Didn't even know you could do that.
yeah, there's services out there that'll do that. They're pretty
That's how they
effective.
get you. Then they steal your they steal your information even more. You give them everything. That's it.
No, they're pretty reputable companies that do this. But yeah, a lot of spam calls.
Yeah.
Jacob's asking, you think it's a good idea to ask how or when we could get it? Sales rep is really chill with me. He was like, I took a chance on you and you're performing good, not messing anything up for our other peeps. So that's good. Building a relationship with the sales rep. Glad. That's a good feeling that he is satisfied with your performance thus far. I would say, like, how many orders have you placed so far, or how many months have you been working with the brand? And that would kind of dictate when or if it might be the right time to ask for Net 30.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever partnered with a brand not selling on Amazon, but you yourself have listed their products and sell their products on Amazon?
Yeah, that's a good question. Thanks, Zach, for joining. Nice to have you here on the live. So have you ever partner with a brand not selling on Amazon? I mean, the brands that we partner with all already have a presence on Amazon, but we will launch new products for them on Amazon. So the answer is no. We have never partnered with a brand that has never sold a thing on Amazon. We only work with brands that have some sort of Amazon presence, preferably a strong Amazon presence with an underrepresented listing, or brand cohesion is not all there. So an opportunity where we can capitalize on what's already there and then come in and provide value to that brand and help them grow and scale on Amazon, maybe help them launch new products on the platform. So that's the best way to do it. That's going to be the most bang for your buck. Everybody wants to pitch you on their products that don't sell.
Yeah,
you don't want to do
it's
that.
crazy.
It's, if we took every brand that offered like products that don't sell, we'd have a warehouse full of products that don't sell. So
They're like,
yeah,
you can get the exclusive on this one, but you can't get the exclusive
yeah,
on the one that sells. So it's like, all right, well,
yeah,
I mean, that also, like, another point to that, if you are an experienced seller, keyword is experience, right? Don't do this if you're a new seller. But if you're an experienced seller and you want to go based on the sales velocity that the brand has on another channel, so let's say that, it's a product that sells really well on the brand's Shopify website, or they sell really well on Walmart or whatever it is, you might be able to leverage that brand equity to launch the product on Amazon, but that's only if you really know what you're doing. So, don't take that. Like, if you see the opportunity from a brand to do that, don't just jump at it, because it's a lot harder than you would think that it is. So be cautious, but it is a possibility if you're more experienced of a seller.
yeah, yeah. As a beginner, just get your foot in the door and just start contacting wholesale suppliers, right? Sourcing. I put out a video on how to find really profitable products and our exact system for finding brands and suppliers to work with. Check that out. I'll go ahead and link it down below. But that's your best bet, is find more brands by sourcing, going down the rabbit hole, and contact more. And then your closure rate is going to be a percentage of how many you're contacting.
Yeah. The guy that made that graphic for that video is pretty good. I don't know where you found him. Is that Fiverr or
What's that?
the system video? Wasn't that the thing that I made that was in there? Is that the video you're talking about?
System video.
Yeah, is that the video you're talking about where it's like the full business, like everything, how it's all interconnected, which is
Oh, no, I'm not talking about that. But
okay, okay.
yeah,
Oh, my joke fell flat then. That's okay.
but that was courtesy of our
Yeah,
Fiverr
yeah.
guy.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. That's
No,
it.
but that's, and so now we got Jared on Instagram asking any tips to further persuade on the phone when they are just being dry and short. That's a good question.
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think every once in a while we get one of those that's like very extreme, and you and I just laugh about it because it's like you said everything you could possibly say and they gave you nothing in return. Um, I don't know. It's a tough thing because, like, there's only so much you can yap at the other person before you're like they are completely disinterested. But it goes to show, like, it speaks to their where their head's at, I think, right?
Yeah, I mean, like sometimes there's no convincing. It's like there's not an inkling of motivation. If there's if there's not an inkling of motivation, how do you convince somebody? Like
Yeah, but if
sometimes
there's
there's
no
just
inkling of
nothing you can say.
motivation, I'm like, why did you even get on the call? You know,
Yeah.
like,
Um,
well, way to have both of us not answer that question at all. It was for just like I mean, what's the like? What would you say the solution is? Because it is tough. I mean,
so I would ask, I would like really emphasize my tonality and ask more questions from different angles. So some, like for instance, there's many different ways to go about it, but one way is to like like dumb it down a lot and like almost come from a tonality of concern. So it's like if I was talking to Jared, I was maybe I would be like, Jared, I'm looking at your products on Amazon, and Jared, I'm concerned about the pricing structure, like just kind of coming across as like being very like almost like, and then get more extreme with it. Like the less that they give you, the more extreme you have to get. So like, we might go all the way as far as like being like, Chinese knockoffs are, eroding your brand. Like we might try to bring it to the next level, right? And be more, use stronger words, right? So erosion, right? Tarnishing the brand, like just anything to get a reaction.
Yeah, I mean, but sometimes you're right. It's like there's no getting through to them. But then I'm like, again, those have always confused me because I'm like, why did you get on the call? Like, how did I get you on the call? But now that you're here, it's like, did somebody force you to do this? Like, I don't know. But sometimes it's a time game too, right? Like you just got to wait them out. And eventually the pain of doing something becomes so great, or the pain of not doing it on Amazon, that they want to talk to you.
Yeah, I mean, be on the lookout for like if they ease up even in the slightest at any point during that call, because then it shows like even if you can't close the call right away, like on the first call, that's fine. Like we have one in the pipeline that's like, you know, I specifically remember it because like, completely opposed, but gave us an inch, right? Gave an inch on that call. And that inch is enough to send some value propositions to follow up again in a few months, So like, but if it was like, if I didn't get that inch, never like we wouldn't continue to push.
Mhm. Well, yeah, it's actually like the other day when we were in the car, I got on the 4th of July of all days, I got a call back from that brand out of nowhere, and they have been evading for forever. And it was funny when we were in the car, and I said, I put it on mute because they were asking me about the purchase order. And I looked at you and I was like, I'm gonna pitch him. And you were like, I know you are. Right. And then like after I got off the phone, you were like, it's a cry for help. It's this little tiny piece of information that like can change the entire dynamic. All they have to do is they gotta let one thing slip. And if you are seasoned enough in doing this, you're gonna pick up on that and you're gonna know what angle to take. So, but when you're dealing with someone that's like has the personality of a brick wall, it could be kind of tough sometimes, but you just got to look for that slip, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yep. Um,
Oh.
John's asking some of these sellers with their buy low, sell low model ruining the brand opportunity for everyone. Um, yeah, so that's an interesting concept, and especially if you're a new seller, it could definitely seem like the prices are all tanking and everything. But um, I actually think that you should kind of look at this as an opportunity, because brands, if they have other sellers that are tanking the price on the listings, that's an opportunity for you to introduce ideas to the brand about how to get their pricing under control on Amazon. So like when we talk about sourcing, like if you're going to come in and source and buy a product right away from the brand and sell it on Amazon, you really don't want to compete with any more than 15 sellers, right? 1 5 sellers. But if you're going to look for a brand exclusive opportunity, like they could have 20, 30, 40 sellers on the listing. Like if you're exclusive, it doesn't matter, right? Because your ultimate goal is to get that down to one, which is you.
Yeah, there's a certain point at which it's so bad it's good. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. And just to go off that, there's many Amazon businesses that just lose money all day long, or and operate on razor thin margins, and um, you know they're just losing money. So it's not all about volume.
Right. And the biggest thing that, for us too is don't try to figure out what they're doing. Don't worry about that. Focus on your business and your profitability because you're never going to know, right? They might be making money in the background somehow. They might not be making money at all. I don't know, right? But it doesn't affect you. All you have to do is just focus on providing the value and selling products profitably.
Yeah, yeah. We spent too long trying to figure out what these other sellers were doing. It's just accept it for what it is, and a lot of them don't make any money on half their products, and who cares? Like that's is what it is. It's not my P&L that's suffering. It's not yours
Yeah.
either. So I don't know why I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting though, because it affects everyone else, but there is a point where you can use that as a value add to a brand. The fact that if no one's making money on the product, no one has any incentive to increase the sales.
Yeah, it's these sellers don't like sometimes brands will come back at you and say, whatever our sellers want to sell it for is, we don't have control over that, or that's up to them. But you can, like you said, Brandon, you can make the argument that when the sellers are losing money, it actually could negatively impact the brand because these sellers are operating with zero vested interest in the brand. And even if they don't care about price, like even if the brand doesn't really care about what the price is that it sells for, they um, are still selling to sellers that have no vested interest, which means that they're not doing anything to continue to produce results for the brand. Right? If I'm losing money on a SKU, why would I'm going to now
You want to
invest
lose
more
more money.
in that SKU? It doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, the whole model doesn't make sense to begin with, but you know,
Yeah. And we get some people joining. Fire away any questions you guys have. We'll probably be wrapping up here in a couple of minutes. If you guys have any last minute questions coming in, um, but this is a good thought, Jacob, because less SKUs to manage is the better way to go.
yes, absolutely. Just because you have more sales, just because you have more SKUs, does not mean you're making more profit. Something that can be hard to understand if you're a new seller, because you could be running, a $20 million business and have the same margins as a $10 million business or $15 million, depending on what they're, how many SKUs they're carrying and what the margins are on them. So it's all about what you put in your pocket.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Um, and
Well,
I would, Jacob, I
not
would
do
recommend
that.
you get that repricer back. Otherwise, you're gonna have a tough time selling stuff.
Yeah, don't do that.
Even if you have I like 5 SKUs. It's even one SKU. Like you should have a repricer. Um, oh, Jacob, we got Helsing Strategic Finance calling you out. Jacob, you better watch out.
You got haters. That's what's going on. It's funny. Do you think it's do you avoid sharing a buy box with Amazon at all costs, or is it in some cases is it okay?
It's okay sometimes if Amazon is. You got to look at Keepa. You got to see and look at Keepa if Amazon's going in and out of stock on the listing. Okay, we'll look at it. If Amazon is in stock all the time, but they're priced higher, they're sharing the buy box, it's okay. So in most case scenarios, that's really the only listings you want to source. In the rare instance, you might have like, a listing where Amazon's on, but I would focus on the ones that are, Amazon's either sharing the buy box consistently, as you can see on Keepa, or they're in and out of stock.
Yeah, yeah, it's all about just how much they maintain control of the buy box. It's really what it is. You could actually find a lot of opportunity on listings that Amazon sells on if they're not in constant control of the buy box. And honestly, they could even be priced at, let's say, $15, and you can sell profitably at 14.80, and you can make money at that price and sell it all day long. And Amazon is never going to chase you down. Those are a lot of really profitable, or that's a very profitable listing because people are going to stay away from it because they see Amazon on it.
Yep. Yeah, manual repricing is tough. You know,
Yeah, don't that's don't do that. I'll put it this way: there's tasks, and we had or I actually had the pleasure of talking with Dylan from Aura about all this, and there are so many other things that you can do. Like a repricer should quite literally, like Dylan said, he goes, "I want you to open your repricer after like 2 years and be like, oh yeah, I forgot this thing was here, and it just runs all day every day and does everything for me." Like out of all the things that you can automate in the beginning, repricing products is one of them. And you should not be wasting time doing repricing when there's something out there that could do it for you all day, every day. So unless for anyone, like if you're sitting in front of your computer, you're going to have to reprice all day, every day and not sleep if you want to keep up with the other repricers. So
yeah. Um, yeah. Yeah. You're not only losing money on your products because you're missing sales, but you're losing money and opportunity costs because you're spending your time repricing when you could be going out and finding new products that are profitable. And so the only time you shouldn't have a repricer, or not even shouldn't, the only time that I'll say, okay, maybe you don't need a repricer is if you have all brand exclusives and you're the only seller, but that's not most people. So, going to need a repricer to sell on Amazon. And yeah, we'll be closing out here. Just a quick question on Instagram. Not really a question, more of a statement that we could probably comment on about an account deactivation for a product we never sold, but we somehow initiated internal review, which is related account enforcement. So, yeah, I mean, in terms of products and compliance on Amazon, you know what to do. Buy direct from the brand or buy from an authorized distributor. Always be authorized to sell those brands on Amazon. In terms of a related account issue, you need to do some digging and see what is overlapping that account. And you really need to do some investigative research on that. I've seen issues like that before, and oftentimes there is something that is triggering that. It may be small, it may be weird and out of the norm, but Amazon usually acts, as much as they shoot first and ask questions later, they usually have an underlying reason behind everything that they do. So definitely dive as deep as you can through your selling history.
yeah.
And work with a consulting agency or a legal firm. Work with a professional. Like, that's my best advice. And so, closing in on about 40 minutes here on our live call on Prime Day. sales are doing pretty well. Hope everyone
Yeah.
else's sales
Day
are good
one
too.
of Prime Day too. Got 3 more days after this, so
Yeah. Yeah. It'll probably slow down a bit. Usually the first day is the biggest. I feel like people are shopping a lot, you know.
right, right.
So
Got to have
um
your Prime Day sales be your new norm. That's the goal, right? Next year when Prime Day rolls around, what you sold on Prime Day is what you sell every day.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Um and with that said, any last minute words? We
I
just got
think
a
I'm good.
random comment in here. Wow. Um, but
Yeah. I think I'm good. I think that's a good way to end it. But if you
yeah, we're
guys
laughing at
are
the
just
comment.
tuning in, yeah, if you guys are just tuning in, um, we go live every week, and so if you're new, appreciate you taking the time out of your day to check us out and learn a little bit with the community. And we will see you live next week.
Peace out, guys. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next time.